Third time lucky. Boom. Mighty jungle. Hey man. Hello?
Right. Is that better?
Don't you worry, mate. It sounds perfect now.
Cool. We are back and ready.
Mate, I'm going to ask you the same kind of questions you asked me about a year ago.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember them?
Yeah, briefly. Yeah, I think so.
You sent me
I think
one,
so, but
two, three, four, five. You sent me 6 things, and I got on top of that. I got another 5 things. So
oh God, okay.
your questions are very different. So these are good questions to ask. So right, guys, you got your host, obviously main man Sam Hanney, and we have youth hitter Chauhan. Jay's got actually great story. One part of his journey, obviously where he is in life right now, but also throughout lockdown and what he's done. But also to talk about his probably mental resilience as well. But I'm going to probably fire right in the deep end, Jay, with the first question.
Okay.
And this will be good for a lot of people. What's the lowest you've been, and how did you recover?
Do you know what? That's a good question. And ask you that was, I think, I know that I've been through many lows, I think. But the lowest I've ever been was probably about 15 years ago, I think.
Okay.
15 years ago. There's a couple of examples because I've been up and down, as you know, over the last year, but even over the last kind of 6 years. But the lowest was I basically had no money. I had no real kind of direction in my life. I had a little bit of cash left, and I used all of that money. I had to make a decision. I was hanging around with some bad people. And didn't have any drive or focus or anything. I would have probably ended up in prison or something if I had carried on the way I was going.
How old were you then?
But 24.
24.
It's not long ago.
Yeah, not long ago.
Not long ago.
You keep telling yourself that, mate.
But yeah, so I had what little cash I had left, and went to India to study, and I came back. I studied in IT, and literally started
that in India?
IT. Yeah, so I went up in Shimla for about 2 months, a month and a half or so.
Nice.
Um,
Didn't know that.
yeah, but it was a decision that my dad was like, "You got to sort your life out. We've done everything we can, and you got to sort it out." And so I did. I went and got some qualifications. I came back and started in technology. As you know, I work in the IT industry, but not technology as we know it, but more in the service side of it. But for me, I came back and I got a job within 3 months. My dad helped me get a job, and I started off on the help desk on the lowest salary you can ever get. But I was determined to make it work. I think, but how did I get? So, and then, as you know, well, as you know, my journey was with youth. It started in 2012, was when I started to work at Deutsche Bank. So that was like the pinnacle of my career, almost the best I've ever been. Because, but I based what I do on my values, and every job I had, every time I thought I got made, well, when I got made redundant, or when the companies released me, I wasn't happy at a company I was working for. I always looked back and I said to myself, why did I do what I'm doing, and who got me here in the first place? And that's what drove me. And so that's the lowest I've been. I was in a really, really bad place then.
What made you turn it around? What was the turnaround for? What was the light bulb to go, you know what, I need to get this, I need to get handled. What was it?
I think for me, I think it was just. It sounds really weird, but in the kind of Indian community and stuff, you really want to, you want to kind of impress people and things like that, and your cousins and everybody like are doing well for themselves, and it was almost kind of like I need to do something with my life, but I think also it was just trying to make my parents happy and proud of me. I think that was the main thing. It's kind of played in with each other. But yeah, that's probably the lowest I've been, and I've never looked back since, actually.
Okay. So when you obviously,
So yeah,
you mentioned obviously sometimes you've been made redundant then in the past.
yeah, yeah. I made redundant. How many? No, just once actually, and that was my
Yeah.
first job. So
Okay.
well, after I started in IT, so it's my first role. I was in it for 18 months, and then I was the last one in, so I was pretty much the first one out.
Okay.
So yeah, that's the time I got made redundant. I've been furloughed, as you know, as well. But so, but yeah, I've managed to.
Don't worry, we'll go into that story because that's a good story as well. Because
Okay.
I think it'll inspire a lot of people. But in terms of obviously when you got made redundant the first time, for example, what was your headspace like? Did you go no low? Did you see it as an opportunity?
Yeah.
How did you look at it?
Yeah, it was really bad. I thought, why is this happening to me? Kind of, and every time that's what it was really. I think I just kept questioning, why is this happening to me? Why is it me? Why not someone else and stuff? And I've done everything I possibly can. I've got my head down and worked. I worked my way up from a help desk analyst to a network engineer. I was mentally kind of doing the best I could, and then I got made redundant. And it was kind of like it's like a kick in the teeth again, and but I tried not to fall into a spiral and got back down to where I was. So it was about the time when I met my wife. It was I was kind of doing people as well, so I thought, I need to kind of rather than get down in the dumps. I just did everything I could to find a new job.
Let's go back then.
So
Let's talk about that. How did you meet your wife?
it was in she's from Manchester, so we was in Bolton. I was my best mate. He lives up in Bolton, and he's a DJ. He's got his own business and stuff. And so we were out one night, and whenever I used to go and see him, I'd go up on a Friday and come back on a Sunday every couple of months to see him. And he was doing this party, a wedding party. He was just doing the music for it, and I just happened to see this beautiful lady on the dance floor, and I was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to go chat to her. But I didn't have the courage, and so I had a couple of more drinks just to kind of get a bit of courage
Get a bit
in
of
me,
manly
and
courage.
yeah, and then I turned my back and she was gone. I
Yeah.
thought, I missed my chance. So there was a little kind of on the side. There was a fire door, and I opened the door, and she was there.
Oh
Like I
wow.
nearly busted the door open in her face, but she was there. She was like, "Hello," and I was like, "Yeah, didn't expect you to be here." And so we just chatted for a bit, and then she was coming down to Leicester to see a friend.
Oh
So I said,
nice.
Why don't we meet up?" And then so I met up with her, um, and that's it.
From that moment, from obviously you met, then that's obviously a good. That's where you start to obviously have another leverage point to obviously continue to push yourself.
Yeah, I think always got to be reasons. I think like why you do stuff. I think always ask yourself the question: why is it that you're doing what you're doing? Even if it's even if I don't know, like, if you're having I don't know, if you're having a bad day and you want to have a glass of wine, just think why am I doing it? And it's okay to do stuff like that. It's okay to think, but as long as you have a reason, because the moment you stop having a reason, I think is when it's when things can go bad. I think there's no focus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, for example, the moment you obviously came to UFIT, then where was you physically? What sort of habits did you have?
I
What was
was
you looking for? Because obviously this is going way back. Obviously, people don't know. Obviously, you said 2012, right? 2012 seems
yeah,
so far a long way.
yeah, 8 years, probably 8 years around this time I joined. I think September it was as well, 2012. Just as soon as I'd started work at Deutsche, so I was traveling a lot. I was um,
Yeah, share people
my
about that because it's interesting. I want to talk about the travel because a lot of people out there do travel, and initially
yeah.
it seems like a great thing, but you can obviously share % on it, how you obviously found it.
It was night shifts. So the shift, when I went night shift, it was a shift pattern. So I was doing days and nights and weeks off and things like that. So it was very intense on the body, trying to kind of get enough sleep. Because I was drinking a lot, I was smoking a lot, and was just generally really, really unhealthy. I would walk. I mean, I wasn't overweight, like so to speak, but I was really, really bad. Like having been a smoker since I was that 16, stopped for a bit here and there, things like that. So it kind of took its toll. So, but yeah, physically I wasn't in a good shape at all. But I knew I needed to find, I need to get more healthier. I knew I needed to do that because it, yeah, I don't think it would have worked for me really well. And I did the shift pattern for 2 years, and that was so that made a decision. I made the decision to join the gym, the studio then, and just to kind of get myself back into a state where I was healthier mentally as well.
Would you describe yourself, obviously, because I have a opinion about it, but for example, it'd be good to hear yours. Would you say in 2012, obviously, the moment you joined the gym, because a lot of people obviously don't, you join the gym obviously to enhance your health, but for example, would you say, for example, that helped you out a little bit, for example, to see your ways, but actually, reality, in essence, you probably weren't really physically ready to change.
Yeah, I think yeah. So for me, the journey was really took a year of you guys trying to embed some good kind of values in me and things like that. And I remember it was really really tough. But at the same time, um, I think I found it really really helpful, especially kind of a year or two into the membership, into being part of the family. I is when I really really excelled. I really looked at not just training, but being more physical, not just more aware mentally about things around me, about my health, more conscious about what I was eating, but also I just find that the more healthy and the more fit you are, the more mentally, physically, mentally you're there pretty much. So I found that I was doing even better at work as well, because I was able to think better. I was able to not get tired too easily, and I was alert all the time and things like that. But it took ages. It took a while. It didn't happen overnight. But you got to want to do it, I think, as well. So it was the two things combined. It was making sure that I was given an opportunity at Deutsche Bank, and I thought I'm going to make the most of it. But I needed to invest in me
Yeah.
rather than in time with friends and drinking and not eating very well and things like that. As with anything, I think it's a habitual thing. It takes its time, little by
It,
little.
it takes its time, right? And obviously, there's a point where you decide to part ways. Now, in essence, obviously, I don't know what. To be honest, I'm going to be honest. I don't know what the reasons were. But again, sometimes you need that. Sometimes you need space, right? Sometimes you need space to reflect. Probably try something else, do something else. Where were you at when you left?
Um, do you know what? I can't. It's really strange. I don't even know what. I don't. I think so. When I left, I'd got I'd left Deutsche Bank, and then I was traveling. I was traveling a lot for work, and I didn't feel I had the time to do it. Um, and then I um, and then I kind of went back to my old ways again a little bit. But the reason why I left, I think partially it was financially because I'd just left Deutsche after 4 years. I didn't have any work or anything, and and I guess I didn't. I'll be honest with you. I just didn't think it was. I mean, I was probably at my best physically and mentally, and I thought, yeah, this is it. You know, I can't get any better than this. But I was wrong. I was really, really wrong about that. And it took a year and a half of being away and not having that structure, and you know, I came back and I thought, I need to do this again. And you know, do I go out and spend no, if I go out and eat and drink once a week, that's 40 quid, right? And over a month, 40, 50 quid, I'm spending £200. I don't need to do that. You know, I found that out pretty quick. Maybe a year's not too quick, but I found it out pretty quick afterwards. And so I thought, you know, I'd rather invest that money in myself again. So that's the reason why I came back. Yeah.
Because the interesting thing, what people don't really understand is obviously when you was there the first time, obviously the gym or how it was ran and all the things associated with it is very different compared to where it is now, right? And one of the questions I've got for you that someone's asked me to ask you is, what's the difference between YouFit when in 2012 and then what's the difference between YouFit in 2018?
People.
That was Helen's question, by the way.
Helen back then was I think she was a member, weren't she?
Yeah.
People, Sam. I think people make business work. I think and I'm not being detrimental to anything or anyone.
Yeah,
I just think
sure.
that the vision. But I mean, it was a great place to come, and it was a great place to kind of, you know, I loved it. Every minute I could, every hour, spare hour I could find, I wanted to just come down to the studio and train. Yeah, it's the people, it's the whole environment now. Even now, it's like I'm itching to get back into the studio because I just want to see you guys. I want to, you know, and create that kind of my own legacy kind of thing a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Because I get that from all of you. I get that from all your team. Yeah, people.
Nice.
People is the one.
So here's another question for you then. What's the highest high you've ever experienced, and how did you handle it? You can't say your wedding day either.
Oh well, no. I was trying not to say my wedding day. The highest, yeah. I wasn't. No.
It's okay. It's okay. Really thinks it's your wedding, but don't worry about it.
That's a good question. Do you know what? There's been so many recently.
You have to pick one. One. Not many. One.
I think what my highest high would be when I started at Deutsche Bank and I was given the opportunity to be in a good company. It's a bit of a cop out, really, I think. But I'll be honest, because I was given an opportunity with the limited experience I had. If I hadn't had been given that opportunity, I don't know. I mean, my wife will always say you would have done well for yourself anyway. But I don't know. I don't believe in fate because otherwise, I just don't think that then you're in control of your own destination.
Yeah.
So, given that opportunity, really kind of opened my eyes, and you know, I doubled my salary overnight.
Oh, is that what happened? Wow.
Yeah. So, you know, I don't like to put monetary value on things, but that was the highest because I thought if I can do this, I can do anything. Do you know what I mean? And I thought, but you need people to give you opportunities. You know, you got to surround yourself with people that do that. But so I was buzzing. I thought this is really good. And how did I handle it? I just, you know, it's important to stay grounded. It really, really is. I don't know what I did. I think I went out for a meal with Hyrule, and then 2 days after starting, she proposed to me.
She proposed to you?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, it was on leap year, 29th
Women,
of Feb.
if you're listening to this, this is the new way to go. You propose to the men, right? Men flipping out. Men, it's stressful. I know what it's like. Stressful for a year. I got all moaning. We're not going out for a meal. We're not doing this. We're not going away. Yeah, great. I'm just saving, mate. Give me a break. At least hear it. That's good. How did she do it? How was you taken back? They used gobsmacked, were you?
Well, I was on my induction, my second day at the bank, 29th of Feb. I didn't think anything of it. I didn't think that is the day that women can propose to men. And then she turned up from,
What, work?
she was living in, she turned up on lunch break at work,
Okay.
yeah, in Birmingham.
Wow.
She lives in Stoke, so there was a straight train down from there, I think, so it didn't take long. And then she was like, "Oh, I'm here on your lunch break." I'm like, "All right, let's go have some food." She goes, do you know what day it is? And I went, yeah, it's 29th of Feb. She went, no, but do you know what it means? And I'm like, it's just a leap year, right? And I was like, and she just said, oh, I want to marry you. Like that. And she started bawling her eyes out, and I'm like, I didn't hear what you said. I didn't hear what you said.
But
So
you
yeah,
go
yeah, pretty much. That's like, I want to marry her. I'm like, what? Did I hear that right? But yeah, so that's how it. And then I had to obviously still kind of get the ring, and then for
Yeah, basically, she put the pressure back on you. All she did, she
yeah,
asked you, but
pretty much.
didn't give you the ring.
Yeah, no, she didn't give me a ring. She just
Basically, Jay, in simple terms, mate, you just got told. Like this is
pretty
happening.
much.
This is happening, but actually, to make it happen, now you gotta go and buy me a
She
ring.
found a winner, and she didn't want to let go. That's all it was.
A winner. How long was you obviously dating for?
3 years.
3 years. So
Yeah, two
interesting.
years. 10 months. Yeah,
So let's talk
3 years.
about that because actually, this would be a good moment for a lot of people. So you dated, but you lived in separate areas, right?
Yes. Yeah, she
So
lived in Stoke, and I
yes,
lived.
in
Yeah,
Leicester.
and I was doing night shifts. Oh no, actually, no. She went to Australia then after 5 months after meeting. She went to Australia for 3 or 4 months. Um, so I think,
Did you speak while I was in Australia or not?
yeah, we did. We spoke so in 2009. So obviously between 2009 and 12, before she asked me to marry her. So yeah, we was, I was living at home. I was at the time. She went to Australia. Then she lived in Stoke as well. So I had to, I not had to. I used to drive up. I think it was a long distance relationship.
It's good though
So
because you don't really hear about them now, right? Because a lot of people, for example, um, the thing is, people don't put the effort in no more how they used to. But actually, reality is, if you didn't put the effort in, you probably won't be in the position you are today with her, would you?
no, you learn a lot with each other about each other as well. The time you spend away, but also the time when you are together. You see each other once a week. For 3 years, it was like that once a week, and then you know, yeah, it wasn't easy, but we made it work. We made it work.
That's it. You made it. You wooed her, so she got asked you.
Yeah, yeah, yep.
Bet she was thinking, Jay's never gonna ask me, man. It's been 3 years, man. I best just ask himself.
Yeah, do you know what? I don't know. I would have eventually, I think, but
Well, eventually, she
yeah.
won't want that. She won't want that word. Eventually, it could be like 4 or 5 years to you.
Well, no, I don't know what it was. To be fair, I don't know. I mean, I was ready to at that time. Anyway, I think you need to kind
Yeah.
of, well, you don't need to do this, but for me, it was more of I wanted to make sure she was the right person, and I was right mentally, stably, and things like that, financially, and all the things that come with being Indian and family pressures and things that come with it. So, I wanted to make sure that I was able to provide and in a good place. And as soon as I got the job, she proposed to me. So, but
Yeah, see,
yeah,
this
I would
because she goes, because she went, oh, fucking hell, he's got loads of money now.
have probably, yeah,
He
yeah,
can afford this wedding now.
makes
I'm
sense.
locking him down. This wedding's done. Of course, right? Bless her.
Yep,
So
yep,
next question for you then.
yeah.
Do you change anything in your past, or do you have any regrets?
I think the easy answer to that is always no. I wouldn't change anything because you are where you are, and I've got to where I am because of all the mistakes I've made. Because of all the highs and lows. And if I hadn't met certain people along that journey, I wouldn't be where I am right now. Would I change that? Probably not. I think everything that I've done, and I know it's the easy answer, but here's the reason why. Everything that I've done, I've always learned from my mistakes, I think. And every good experience and every high that I've had, I've always shared it with people. I've never been one to take limelight for everything. I always try to involve people around me. I think that's where my management skills come in with people and things like that. But no, I really wouldn't change anything. I've had an eventful life so far. And I'll be honest with you, when I was at school, I got bullied really bad. And then I started hanging around. I got beaten up really bad, hanging around with some not so good people. But went to places I've never been before. Lived a lifestyle that people, again, with the right people. I went, there's loads of things that have happened, and I wouldn't change it because I've always learned from it. I know now, if it wasn't for them experiences, I wouldn't be more streetwise, or as streetwise as I am now. I can kind of
Streetwise is important. I think everyone don't really appreciate streetwise.
yeah,
More
yeah.
you have to be streetwise in this world, I think, personally.
Yeah, and I know, I'm not I've not got children myself and stuff, but I think, I know it sounds probably a bit old school, but you've got to get beat up a bit, to kind of toughen yourself up, whether that's physically, mentally, but you've got to make mistakes. You have to make mistakes, and don't look at them as mistakes. Just, I had a conversation with an old colleague of mine on LinkedIn. We were talking about they're not mistakes; these are learning curves. These are curveballs that life throws at you, and then it's how you handle that. Is how you come away from that. Nobody's perfect, and I'm not perfect, definitely not. But it's how you behave and learn and act after that.
Of course, because remember, sometimes if you get too lost in the past, start thinking about the past too much, and you get too lost in the future, you're never present, so you never deal with here and now. If you never deal with here and now, in essence,
Yeah,
you're just living in two different worlds. You're living in the past and then living in the future. And the past is
yeah,
obviously potentially going to hold you back because, like you just mentioned, you're going to go, "Oh, I wish this happened. I wish this happened. I wish I could have done this and this." But actually, in reality, where you are right now is just where you are right now, right? But
hmm
trying to think about all the things you've not done, there's no point because actually won't help the thought process of where you are now. But also thinking too far ahead won't help that, right? Because you become a dreamer, and actually it just comes about being centered and being present, which is what I'm learning more about. It's about being here today, doing what I need to do today, then moving on tomorrow. If that makes sense.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I
definitely.
think that falls like in line with the next question really. I want I want you to share where you were from January to where we are now. Talk about obviously things you've done. Talk about obviously what's happened, what decisions you made, but also talk about how you applied for jobs. What was your thought process behind it? How did you do it? Talk all the things that we've talked in the one-to-one because I've got some clients, for example, at the minute that have been made redundant, but they're going for jobs and things like that. But I want you to talk about your attitude towards like being a go-getter towards it, because I think a lot of people in this world thinking they're applying for jobs, but they're just applying to a job as an afterthought rather than a like a job, right?
Yeah,
So, give us an insight from where you were from obviously January to where we are now.
yeah. Okay, so I mean, throughout, you know, so from January, I think I was again mentally not in a great place. I have highs and lows and stuff, and then for where I was working, I'm going to be completely honest, and I'm not crashing the company or anything, but the values just weren't there, and because the values and the culture was really that was the way you are as well, and
What
there
way
was
you are,
just things
were
going on.
yourself? Do you mean the way you act by
Yeah,
yourself? Yeah.
yes, yeah. Because and then it kind of and that draws that such negativity into you I was in a really place. I was training in the gym, and I broke down. I broke down while I was on the bike, I remember, and that was again. I don't, sometimes you can't pinpoint something on mental health. It just was, I just was in a really bad place, and there was a time in that period where I didn't want to be here anymore. It happens to anyone. You can have all the money, everything in the world, but it can strike you if there's something going on. It's a strange feeling. I never want to have that feeling ever again. So we had a chat, and then I was going into work. I wasn't enjoying it. I was sleeping in my car on the lunch breaks and things. I really just wasn't enjoying it. Physically, I was fine. I was training well and things like that. And then all this stuff happened with the pandemic and things, and we got asked to work from home. And then after a while, I got furloughed. And then so again, I was capable of being in a really bad mental state. I was stuck at home. Not being able to go out because of the laws and things like that. And I got made furloughed. So I couldn't do anything. So I had to decide I need to make a change. I need to do something. So I started applying for jobs. In fact, no, I didn't. I went on LinkedIn. Made it clear to recruiters that I was looking for work, but I didn't apply for jobs. I just engaged with some of the kind of people I know, and I just relations with them. It wasn't about me looking for work. It wasn't things. How's the market looking? Conversations with people, and then through that, I literally only applied for 2 roles during that period. I wasn't going out and applying.
Was that on a job site, or was that through LinkedIn?
Yeah, sorry, just cut off there, Sam, a little bit.
Was that on a LinkedIn you applied?
It was on LinkedIn.
Oh, okay,
Is that
cool.
what you asked me? Was it on?
Yeah.
So it was just on LinkedIn, and then recruiters would call me and we'd just have a chat, and then the opportunity was given to me. I didn't see a role at a couple of the places that I applied for. They said, well, just talking to you, we feel that I've got this role, you're interested in it, kind of thing. Again, and we spoke a lot about when I was talking to recruiters, it was a lot about values, about culture, I'm very service orientated, so I'm very people focused and things like that. And I think that's what really intrigued the recruiters. Companies are looking for people with good values. They can teach you things on the job, but you can't teach people values. I think.
Yeah, you can't teach people hard work and empathy.
No.
Right. Honesty, transparency.
Yeah.
You can't teach any of that. That's you basically. That's a personal thing, right? It comes down to your own values.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and then I managed to get a job for a company, which
you got 2 jobs, right?
Well, yeah. So then and then I started. During that period, I started my own business.
Yeah, we're going too fast. Let's just stay here because this is a good story. We need to stay here. So,
okay.
Right in lockdown.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, 2. Now, with both job offers, for example, from home, how was the structure? What was it different?
One role was working from home for a company based in London, but everybody works from home. And I got into the second interview stage, and then this other one was for the client was UHL Hospitals Leicester, but they behind that got NTT Data, and they're global. They have multiple clients all over the world and so on. And I went with the one which I had to. I didn't go for the home-based role in the end. I actually told the recruiter, I said I'm not interested. The money was more. I could have stayed at home, but that's not why I do work. I'm a people person. I have to meet people. I engage with people and things like that. So I went with the NTT role, which the people are amazing. great value, and it's completely different to where I was, polar opposite.
So just on that front then, for example, so if people are watching for some tips, for example, I want you to lay down, if you had an interview, for example, how would you do your research? Because you've told me about this. How would you do your research, and how then would you approach an interview?
Um,
These are
yeah,
these are golden nuggets, right? People need to know this because people don't do this.
I think obviously first and foremost is make sure that you. I don't know, it's about finding finding the role that you really want, and then if you want to make it work and you want it yours, you've got to give everything you've got. And I think with in terms of research, when I look at a company, a first page I go on is the values and beliefs, and I look at them. Do they match with mine? What services do they offer? Things like that. But and when I'm prepping for an interview or anything, it's really just about it's a two-way conversation. So both interviews were over video conference as well, so it was really challenging. But it was all about making sure that I came across. My CV tells the guys and the questions they ask or the interviewees that they know I can do the job. Do I fit in that question? So really, it's about what are you looking for, and can I demonstrate them values in that interview? The interview I had with NTT and with Form 3 was all about culture, all about they knew I could do the job, right? They weren't worried about that. Did I fit in that role? And was the company right for me? And with that, you can make a good decision on whether it works for you.
Did you obviously understand the company quite a bit then to understand what they were looking for in the first place? Did you do more research in the background? So when you did have something, you know what they're actually talking about rather than catch you on the back foot.
Yeah, so I've done interviews myself, so I would ask if I was them, what questions would I ask me? And so I would, yes, I had questions about the role, like anybody would. Just, you got to find out whether that role is good for you, but also good for you and things like that. So yeah, I would in front of the mirror, and I would talk to myself as if I was describing me to them, and I'd do that. I would even the point where I would put a shirt on and a tie and go in front of the mirror as if I was talking to them, prepping that way. And I know it sounds silly. Shower, I would be prep, really kind of be focused on what I was going to say and making sure that that I come across as me. I wasn't trying to be fake.
I think the key there is role model, right? Being role model, role playing.
Role playing, yeah.
In the sense, for example, when you come to an interview, you've got to be confident, but that confidence can't come across as cocky because that's just arrogance to some degree. It's got to come off the right balance. But in order to do that, for example, you have to practice, right? Because remember, a lot of people who have been made redundant now or may not have jobs, they probably applied for a job for about 15 years. Applying for a job in this day and age versus 15 years ago is so different. So different. And that's why I think one of the biggest challenges what we're going to face as an economy is that. I think a lot of people who are applying for these jobs, they may have a lot of good skill sets, but I think they've either been crushed in their work. For example, they're a bit like yourself where you start to just get peter out and the performance starts to go anyway. But at the same time, another thing is that, for example, they're going back into a world to applying for jobs against probably abundance of people, but they still, for example, don't understand the differences between applying for a job back in year 2000 compared to the year 2020, because there's a massive difference. Because there's a lot of people applying for jobs, but the interesting thing is that it's only going to be the wolf that gets the job, right? Because you got to applying for a job to some degree. You got to make it like a job. Would you agree?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, definitely. I think. I mean, I'm lucky that I found the job that I did, but Yeah, it is completely different to when it was 15, 20 years ago. My mum was working for Mark Installations for 35 years, 30 years. She started with that company when it was a very, very small company in a home as an accounts clerk, and 30 years with one company, got made redundant. And she just didn't know where to go, just lost completely. So it was, I've seen her go through that, and now she works at Costco, and she loves it. She's not there obviously for the minute because of all the stuff that's going on, but she's been there for a year or a bit now, and she loves it. But again, it's finding yourself. It took her 2-3 years to find herself. I'm not saying it's going to take that long for everyone who's in the situation right now, but I think there's one piece of advice is, if I can give, is just focus on finding the right role for you. Maybe easy said than done, but don't look at the money too much. Find the right role and you'll be happy. I think I've taken a massive salary cut to be in this role.
Yeah,
I'm not bothered because I'm enjoying it. I love it. My lifestyle changes because of that, but that's fine because I'm doing something I love every day, and that you can't put a price on.
so then now let's go on to the next thing then. So let's talk about the revelation you've had also and what you've started. So what's the actual thing you created now?
So I've got a business called the Friday Kitchen, and it's weird how it started, and it goes back to like what we've spoken about already, is that I was thinking about I wanted to start my own business for a while, but I was dreaming too much about it.
Not doing.
Yeah, and I was kind of going, I could do this, I could do that, but putting a positive twist on that. I remember when Joe and I used to talk, and it was always at creating a vision board. But what I was doing, in essence, I was creating a vision board in my head, but I didn't write it down. So I kept dreaming and dreaming and dreaming. The moment you write it, it becomes real. So I then thought to myself, I need to, I love food, like everyone, most people, but what can I do so that I can create an income out of it? I started a business called, it was called the Friday Night Takeaway first, and I got my local area on a WhatsApp group, 30 odd people joined, interested in.
Let's just pause that there, Jay.
Cooking.
Just hold there, because guys, just something to understand about this. One of his passions is cooking. But one thing he used to always say to me when he wanted to do a job, if you look what he said earlier about serving, is people focused. So Jay always wanted to do something that was basically people focused, but serving. Now, some people get lost in terms of serving, whether that's serving, i.e. how I coach, right? People perceive that. But actually what Jay's found is the way he can serve a community or serve people, but for a passion of his. Now, one thing is probably not mentioned right now is Jay's background. For example, when he used to travel, he used to have cooking classes at each place he used to go. So whether that was Brazil, whether that was Thailand, wherever he used to go, he used to have cooking classes. So now, if you can look at this, there's a book that some people want to read. It's called The Value Factor. It's a massive book. It helps you look at this. But what Jay's done now, not only has he got his work job, but he's created a passion at serving people through a passion. So Jay, carry on the story. Sorry, mate. I just thought
No, absolutely fine. Yeah, and so it was about applying my passion, you're right, about cooking, and it was mainly just Indian food, but the way I eat it, not the way I expect people to like it. So this is stuff that I like.
This is good, right?
Yeah. But yeah, I just went. There's no other word for other than threw myself in the deep end and said, right, guys, this is what I do, or I want to start doing. Do you want to order some food? We've got a menu out there, really, really simple. It was on a Word document. Put it on the WhatsApp group, and yeah, people were like, yeah, I love this, I love this, I love this. And I was like, this is the first week, right? And 12,
how many orders? 15 orders in your first week?
I'll tell you exactly how many orders because I've got the spreadsheet here. So
something to consider, guys. If you like this, for example, this is where you got to appreciate he's took action. The thing is, for example, what stops a lot of people is the fear of being judged, the fear of being not accepted. But actually, reality, for example, you just got to do it. If you don't do it, you're going to hate yourself more because you didn't do it. So actually doing it and just taking the leap of faith, for example, and seeing what happens. Because at the end of the day, what was going to happen? Someone's going to tell him that shit idea, right?
Yeah. And then
you got that as well, though, right? A lot of people said that they said, well, this won't work, right? A lot of people did say that.
You're definitely gonna have people that go, why don't you do this or why don't you do that? And I'm like, no, why don't you do that and I'll do it this way, kind of thing. Because there was no groundwork and it was really, really simple. And it was, all I want to do is cook 4 dishes, get it out on a Sunday, have the last orders by Wednesday evening, go out on a Thursday after work, buy the fresh ingredients, prep it the night before, finish work at 4:30, 5 o'clock on a Friday, cook for 2 hours, deliver out, boom, done. That's it. That's really simple.
So something to remember, guys. What Jay's done is not sourced recipes from other people and done them. Is actually all he's doing is creating all the food he likes. So you can appreciate that. The passion from a cooking perspective is because he's making things that he likes. Now the thing is, the double edge of that, or not the double edge, the positive of that is, for example, it's got passion behind it. It's his own menu. Now, if what people are liking or what people are buying, they're buying into his own menu. They're not buying into someone. Remember, let's be honest. You can go to 15 Indian restaurants in Leicester, and they all could serve a korma, for example. Like they all could serve it. But for example, what Jay's done is actually, instead of saying I'm going to do this, this, and this, he's going to stick to what he loves, the food he loves, and then what he's sharing is that passion for the food he loves. Because remember, when you put passion into something, 9 times out of 10, it's going to succeed naturally because there's passion behind it, but then also people will love it. It's the same reason why YouFit is successful.
Yeah, definitely.
And how long have you been doing it now, Jay?
So we are in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 2 months.
2 months. So guys, it's been 2 months, and trust me, this guy's making a lot of money. He's making more money than me. But on a separate note, this guy's obviously been doing it for 2 months. The interesting thing is, for example, when you start something, the interesting thing is you start. The starting process can feel, you're just starting, you're enjoying it, but then you're building momentum, right? Yeah. You're building momentum. If you look at it now, for 2 months, he's building momentum. Now he's starting to think about a Facebook page. I think he's got one. I think he's got, obviously, got a different menu. But he doesn't go overboard. He doesn't keep adding to the menu. He wants to keep it streamlined. He's starting to have thoughts about children, cooking. Is really starting to obviously develop it, right? But also that just comes with momentum. It doesn't mean, for example, he's probably got a plan that's so astronomical, but doesn't mean he can't dream it now because he's taking action. By taking action each day, he'll probably reach the dream. That dream could be in 5 years' time. But the thing is, what you got to also everyone take from this is momentum. But I think the bottom line is anything, whether it's applying for a job, whether it's getting through these times, it actually comes down to doing the work.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I completely agree. It's the book "Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway" is a really good example to kind of a really good book to read, and it's everything you say there is about, if you really want to do something, don't worry about what other people think. For a long time in my life, I was worried about what other people thought of me. Now it's all about what I do, and not worried about what people think and say. Obviously take on board advice and things like that, but do what you want to do.
Of course. Remember, I know we've had many chats, right? But remember, my goal is not to impose on you what you are you're going to do it. My goal, like anyone's goal, really, when they want to see someone succeed, it's about perspective, right? Because ultimately, you've got your own vision, right? Yep. And that's important. But like you said, you have to take. You can take ideas, but then the thing is as well, you're in control of what that idea brings, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So yeah, long may it continue. I think it's simple, like you said. I'm not doing anything different to what I would eat. We've probably kept the same menu for 2 or 3 weeks, and I'm getting different people ordering from across. So it's keeping it simple and not doing anything extravagant. And yes, we're going to add to it as we're going along this journey. I know that at any point it could end. So it's just every time Friday comes, I just give it everything. And that's
unfortunately, it'll never come to an end now.
Well, no, I don't think so. People will always be hungry.
Unless you want to retire from it.
No.
I got another question for you. What do you see your biggest health obstacle over the next 12 months?
It's probably sitting at home in front of a computer and not doing enough posture exercise, extra walking. You can slip into kind of working from home at the minute. You can slip into that cycle again. So it's all about, for me, it's planning in the mornings, planning kind of what my day looks like, getting my walks in at lunchtime. Every 10 minutes, do a bit of stretching, walk around the house. And lucky for me, the company I work for are keen on that. If I'm not at my desk, they're not looking at me or whatever on Skype and LinkedIn thinking he's away. They know. But the biggest obstacle is, I don't know when this is going to end. I don't know when I'm going to be back in the office, but it's all about trying to keep healthier and doing a lot more of the kind of posture exercises and getting steps in and keep moving. I think over the next kind of 6 to 12 months, if I'm working from home, it's horrible sitting at a desk because you can get, my back starts hurting and things like that.
That's why you have to. Yeah. That's why you have to tell me every morning when you're doing your exercise.
Yeah. I do, don't I?
Yeah. Okay, here's the last question that you gave me on my questions. What's the one thing that you would say is the most place, a person, a painting, or anything?
I remember that question. I hadn't even asked myself that.
What, you just thought you'd ask me?
Yeah, no, I did ask myself. I think it gets you thinking, that question. For me, it's home, and I say that because from where I was 10 years, 15 years ago to where I am now, wherever we are, holiday or if it's visiting friends and family, the one place I always look forward to is home. It's mine, it's ours, it's, I feel comfortable here, and it's a place where we've worked really hard to get. It's a reflection of just, it's like a physical representation of who we are as individuals as well. So, we try to make the home a beautiful place for us, not for anyone else, for us. And so, even when I'm on holiday, in wherever I go, I look forward to coming home. It's a nice feeling.
Like you said, I think a good thing about it is obviously, because like you said, it's a representation of what you've done, but also you create a home to be comfortable, right? You create a home to be an environment that's what you like. So doing that as a couple is obviously important as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Apologise here. Your name went on that list, so I do apologise.
No, but it does come down to home, because the business that we do from home. We
do it together as well, don't you?
We think of menus together. We prep the food together. We serve the food together, and it's all from home. So that's why the one place that's
dream team. Boom, boom, boom. I think when you renew your vows, I think you've got to ask her.
Yeah, I know. I will do, but not, yeah.
Right, guys. Some questions, Jay. Obviously, can you do pick up at UFit? Can I see a menu? Which is cool. Jay can post a menu and go from there. Yeah.
What's that? Sorry,
you can post it. You can post the menu.
Okay, cool. I've not thought of what we're doing next week because the weather's good. So yeah, if you're interested, you'll be up by this evening always. So never later than 6 or 8.
If you want to see the page, what's the Facebook page, Jay?
It's just called the Friday Night. What's it called? What's it called? No. It's the Friday Kitchen.
The Friday Kitchen, guys. If you want to check it out, go to Facebook. It's the Friday Kitchen. I'm sure it's on Instagram as well. Is that correct, Jay?
It's on Instagram as well, yeah. But yeah, the Friday Kitchen's on Instagram, but the Friday Kitchen on the Facebook
check it out.
page,
And yeah, let's look forward to the menu this evening. But Jay, mate, it's been a pleasure.
It's been good.
I hope your journey inspires a lot of people, which I'm sure it will be.
I hope so too. Yeah, definitely.
Boom. Peace out. Legend.
Take it easy.
And you.
Cheers, man.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.